Greetings. Hey, it's Susie Q. Brand new day. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the work. Yeah. Today we begin to break down attraction 41 questions. Today is question number 25. These can be found via podcast and video at YouTube channel Holistic Healing Community by Susie Juravich. Do subscribe to follow this complimentary offering of how to tune into your desired goal, intent, or juicy, groovy new vibe. Today, the question is, are you extending kindness with the people in your life? Whew. Wow. Oh, man. That's a great question. I did a podcast this morning. The podcast really kind of felt like a home run for me. Kind of coming up with what the feeling tone too from the podcast are. Basically, I wake up and I'm inside the house, and I get up today. I get up like at 3:30, so I get up like super duper early. And I don't resist it. I allow myself to wake up early if that's what's required, and then I just start studying, start writing, start studying. So those are really good times for me to tune in. So this idea, are you extending kindness out into the world? And so the podcast really, I thought really hit it, but I'm going to do a little video, a little fun overview of what came through. So yesterday was all about nature, and then uh, and so nature is interesting because when we talk about the outer landscape, sometimes we're talking about the inner landscape. So when you really talk about what nature means to you, and yesterday was really, Earth Day is, I don't even know what day Earth Day is. I just started celebrating starting on Thursday. I don't even know what day exactly it's supposed to be. I think every day or every in breath is Earth Day. But I noticed that when you're really talking about how you relate to nature, the nature we see with the trees, the birds, the mountains, the hills, flowers, whatever, bugs, anything, whatever the way that you reflect that, I'd like for you to just kind of consider that possibility that when you're talking about the outer nature, that you're actually mirroring or reflecting your inner nature, your inner qualities of who you are, and you, yes, you are magnificently divine. That's how I see you. So clear to me. So about this idea about being kind, so I just want to um, bring it to bring it to light a little bit that when we look at being kind to others, typically the first person we need to be kind with, guess, can you name? Dee 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 dee. Okay, so the first person you need to be kind to is yourself. So sometimes it's like, well, that's selfish, and I need to be giving to others, and that's just not right. Oh yeah. So, mm, the truth is the kindness begins within. There was one other thing I was going to read to you too that came in related to this question. This information came in. Sometimes I get just threads of words, and then it's kind of like riddles. But I forgot to read this to you. So before I begin, I'm gonna just okay. The jewels of the Magdalene are just below the surface. Rise as they do, you too will sparkle and shine. Okay, so I'm picking up some Magdalene codes that are coming through, and so this is going to relate to this approach here about that being kind to yourself, starting there. And so, um, sometimes when we look into the mirror, or we look on the inside, just feeling about where we're at, and sometimes we're probably our most harshest critics in some cases, and judgmental of things that we've done or said, or and so, and it seems like we're able to be more accepting of others and forgiving others, and then we forget, to turn that frown upside down and make it a big fat smile by forgiving ourselves or for accepting ourselves and being kind to ourselves. And so for just for the sake of this exploration about being kind out with others, how do we approach it? Well, look in the mirror at your own self and just really start there by really noticing that reflection, what you're reflecting back to you. And I always suggest to people that when you go into this place of that reflection, looking in the mirror, is that you soften your gaze. It's a drishti, so it's eyes half open, half closed, just really, really soft in the face, and really tune into your own self. And then really get to that place of that loving kindness. So I'm putting loving in there too. So just really looking at um, who you are in the mirror and receiving the information as just being you in the moment of beingness. Here you are, void of judgment, void of labeling, void of um, some assessments are okay. Most are not necessarily required, to live a full, rich life. But just being present with what you're seeing in the mirror and really tune in and sending from your heart space that love. And so, just allowing any feelings or any thoughts that arise, about any belief systems that you have or limited thought beliefs or early conditioning, early scripts that were handed to you by so many people in your lifetime. They just hand them over and you'll read it and you're like, okie doke. hmm. But in this moment now, we really encourage you to just lay all of that down. Lay it down. Lay it down. Be present with this moment, just looking at yourself and reflecting, softening your face, softening your eyes, relaxing your eyes, and just breathing all that in. That beautiful presence that you are, that beautiful you. Being kind to yourself as you look into the mirror. Just acknowledging all the travels that you've had in this lifetime, all the experiences in a neutral way. Acknowledging everything that arises in your life. And in this moment now, being thankful. And then extending this beautiful whew, feeling of kindness to self. Okay. So once you're able to sustain this beautiful space of, I love myself, I desire to set aside things that, were just simply experiences where there were lessons, and I learned, I learn almost every day that I'm a beginner. Okay, and it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay. Just when you really become like, a semi-pro on something, then something else comes in, and you're like, whoa! It's like slow motion Matrix. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What is that? Oh, I know what this is. I'm a beginner. And then you might go into, well, I'm kind of curious. So this kind of came into my field, and I know I'm ready for it because I got it. I'm kind of curious. What's next? Whew. Beautiful. So now that you've taken a moment and I'm looking at this screen and I'm looking in the screen as if it is the mirror. And so it's so important just to take a look at yourself and see if you can neutralize, any feelings or sensations of self examination or realization or actualization or um, about where you're at with this time and this life and how you look. Just if you can. And I know you can. I know it. I know you can do it. That you can release any thought beliefs about what you look like. that you simply release it and you simply look into the eyes that are reflecting back to you. That's why we ask to soften your eyes. The more you soften your eyes, your heart softens as well. So by relaxing your eyes as you're looking into that reflection, sending this loving kindness to yourself. And now, when you take this out into the world, you don't need to say, I'm so kind. Look at me, how kind I am. I don't know where this singer thing is coming in because it's really chatty and fun. Okay. So when you go out and you're like, okay, so I'm feeling that I'm, understand who I am, that I'm kind to myself, and it starts here. And I love my body just the way it is. I love my body just the way it is. Whew, it feels good and juicy. So when you take this out, this beautiful loving kindness, and you take it out into the world, again, you don't need to like shout it from the rooftop. I'm kind. Look at me. You don't have to do that. You can simply take that reflective quality from really tuning into your own self in that neutral stance of I love myself just the way I am. I am perfect in this very moment. I love who I am. I love I love this beautiful being. I love this person. So when you take it out into the world and you just start noticing that you are almost like, I call these like antennas, so you're picking up these beautiful frequencies and these beautiful vibes by being in this state of loving kindness. So when you go out, you don't need to make any statements. You can zip it. It's hard for me because I like to talk a lot. I can't be a ventriloquist or a gambler. I don't have a poker face. I have so many different facial expressions. Just go around and experiment with how you take this loving kindness of self out into the world. And sometimes it's just simply by, just noticing another person, giving a eye contact. And sometimes I'll nod to somebody like I see you, because we don't have to utter a word. From soul to soul, these frequencies are transmitted, they're emitted and emitted and emitted, and then the band, it's like a radio band gets wider and wider and expands and expands and expands. So there's you don't even need to say any words. Just let that frequency inside of you, from your heart space, from that place of loving kindness of self, let it just expand and bubble up and up and up. So just seeing another person, and softening your face. You don't have to be like all granny. I like make a lot of faces, but you can just soften your face and soften your eyes. And sometimes I'll, of course, do a little nod. And then if somebody um, does a kind gesture to me, or some sort of an offering of kindness, sometimes I'll just do that real quick. And so I don't even say anything, but I just acknowledge others that show me loving kindness. And so these are just some simple ideas about how to fully embody this question of mm, how do you show more kindness out into the world and into the that little parable, or that little riddle that came in about the Magdalene energies, is that inside all of us is this rich, this golden, these bejeweled, and all this beautiful gifts that are inside of us. It's just underneath the surface. Underneath the surface. Let it out. Let that light shine. Show your jewels. Show all the gifts that you have, and do it in a quiet way, in kindness and nodding. Whew, about being present with another human being without uttering a word. And in turn, do this to nature, to the trees, to the plants, to the animals, to the birds. Extend that same loving kindness. Oh, you have a most beautiful day, and may you be blessed. And may you shine and shine and shine, because I know you do.